We're coming to you from the VRIC 2019 here in Vancouver. And joining me now is Robert Cameron of Commander Resources. Robert,
correct.
What's your symbol on the TSX?
We're CMD on the TSX Venture Exchange.
Now, let's talk about what kind of company you are, because you're a generator company. What exactly is a generator company?
Yeah, we're a prospect generator. So
prospect generator is the correct terminology.
Well,
Thank
some
you.
people have different versions of it, but yes, we're a prospect generator. It's a sort of a subset of the exploration field. It's an attempt to exert discipline on what is naturally a high-risk operation in trying to explore mines. Mines are rare and difficult to find, and you spread the risk as a prospect generator by bringing in partners. So we live on a pipeline of projects, maybe a dozen projects. We seek out joint venture partners that could come in and option the properties and fund the exploration. We preserve our capital that way. Other people's money does the heavy lifting. We could have 3 or 4 potential, is the goal anyway, joint ventures out there exploring our properties concurrently, and we spread the risk. That exercise allows us to focus on generating new projects, which are the cheap end of the exploration cycle, while our partners focus on the heavy lifting, which is the drilling and discovery part of the
So you talked about exerting discipline. What do you mean by that? And why is that so important?
Well, it's disciplined within the model. We will not drill a project. We take projects up to the drill stage, so we do the early stage exploration, the mapping, the prospecting, the soils, and early geophysics, and then a partner will do the drilling forward. And that's the expensive part of the exploration cycle, is that drilling component. If we were to focus on one project ourselves, that would drain our entire treasury just doing that heavy exploration phase at the back end of a discovery. So this way we can focus on the front end. Our partners can do the back end, the drilling and the definition stage. Through that exercise, we have option payments, which could be in cash and or shares, and we keep a royalty. So we have income, which offsets our expenditures, so our burn rate's much less. We protect our shareholders from excessive dilution because we're not financing as much, because our burn rate is managed with income and focusing on the cheaper front end. The royalties eventually build up into a portfolio that maybe at the end of the day will be the value proposition. Your portfolio of royalties could probably exceed the value of your properties at the end of the day, and you'll be known as a royalty company.
So why is it that the larger companies will want to work with a generator company when couldn't they just say, well, we'll just do it on our own? Like what does the prospect generator bring to the equation that makes it attractive to your joint venture partners?
Well, it's a good point. I mean, if you look at the majors, over the years they've slowly shrunk their exploration departments. So they're really lacking in that generative part of their own internal pipeline. So they look to prospect generators to provide some of these brand new discoveries or concepts or exploration ideas to feed their pipeline. The majors can't be everywhere at once, so they rely on the different prospect generators. Prospect generators have different focuses. You could probably create a portfolio of prospect generators and spread your risk. We're Canadian focused. There's others that are South America focused. So it serves the major and mid-tier companies perfectly, because they don't have the manpower in their own exploration departments to do this early stage exploration. So they offloaded it to prospect generators.
It's a market niche.
It is, and it's sustainable for our shareholders too. So ultimately, it's sort of preserves the share structure a little bit more strongly than other companies, and it's exposed to a lot of different exploration programs that anyone could lead to a discovery. So it's a very worthwhile and, as I say, disciplined approach to exploration.
Well, give me a little bit of the history of your involvement in this. How long has the company been in operation?
We've been around for 30 years. This is our 30th year. So we were born in 1989.
You have a little success.
Survivability, anyway. So we began in 1989 as a company called Major General Resources. It was built on the backs of buying the Canadian assets of a company called Union Minière, UMEX, in Canada. And from that sort of core group of projects and data, projects were spun out over time. I joined the company about 2 years ago. We've since become Commander Resources, obviously, and I recognized that the company had the building blocks of a successful prospect generator. Even though that's what the company was doing, they weren't branding themselves specifically as that. So we already had a portfolio of royalties. We already had a portfolio of shares from all our joint venture partners we've had over the years. We spun out 2 assets that formed the basis of other companies over those years, and we're just trying to accelerate that exercise under the more formal brand of Prospect Generator.
So you talked about the fact that you're focusing on Canadian properties.
Yes.
What do you got underway right now?
Well, like I mentioned, we have about 10 projects across Canada. We actually have one in Mexico. We have one active joint venture. That's a nickel cobalt project we call South Voisey's Bay because it's south of the Voisey's Bay operations. And what's interesting about that joint venture is that it's being explored by a company called Fiordland Exploration and funded by HPX, which is Robert Friedland's private company. So HPX is direct funding Fiordland, who is then investing that in the joint venture to earn their interest from us on the South Voisey's Bay project.
Well, and we also know that Robert Friedland's association with Voisey Bay has been a pretty successful venture.
Yes, I kind of call it our Hollywood story because we managed to, we had this asset that Commander's owned since 1996.
96.
Commander's owned this property since day one during the initial discovery rush there. We maintained the property, kept all the data from all the partners that have come and gone. So we're sitting on about $25 million worth of exploration data on our property in a topical area, near the Voisey Bay discovery. We optioned to Fiordland, and then with Fiordland, we attracted funding, and that funding happened to be Robert Friedland. So here he is looking for the next Voisey's Bay, which would be quite
that
incredible.
Would be extraordinary, wouldn't
Lightning
it?
strikes twice, hopefully.
But what makes this attractive now? You've been sitting on this property for 22 years.
Well, exploration cycles. You can't, nickel's not always hot, so we maintain our properties. They come back, they go out. This one was been sitting idle. What we actually did when I joined the company is we modernized the database, so to speak. It survived in a bunch of banker boxes. We just brought it out into the digital world so that people can come in and quickly evaluate the exploration potential. And once we had that marketable database, we were managed to bring in HPX, who recognized the full potential because they had the ability to look at the data with modern techniques.
What are a couple of the other projects that you've got here in Canada that you're pretty excited about?
We got 2 I would call our top tier. We have an exciting gold project in the White Gold District up in the Yukon. It's called our Flume project. It's a project that I personally have been involved with since 1999. I staked it originally with a previous company I worked for and managed to keep it in my own personal world up till now, and I brought it into Commander. It's a 10-kilometer long gold arsenic soil anomaly, which is the classic signature of those new white gold discoveries. They start off as kilometric scale soil anomalies, and then through exploration, discoveries have been made. Coffee, for example, which was bought by Goldcorp from Kaminak for about $500 million. And then we have the white gold people that have great discoveries recently, including their new vertigo. And we're right in the middle of this sort of exciting new gold belt there. So we're looking for partners on that property as well.
And you have a project here in British Columbia as well, don't you?
We have several in British Columbia. We have one called Almanica, which is a copper gold porphyry. We just this summer started.
Which is not a new name here.
What
is it? Almanica.
No. It's a district, a region. There's a lot of mines in the area, so we have a problem we call Almanica.
Yeah.
We also initiated a new sort of copper program this year because I wanted to boost the copper exposure in our portfolio. So we managed to pick up 2 new exciting copper projects in central British Columbia as well, which we'll be releasing some information on over the next couple of weeks to illustrate the full potential of those. And we have also gold projects in BC as well. So BC is probably our center of gravity in a sense because that's just where our neighborhood and backyard is, but we're across the country.
You're pretty excited about the opportunities that are ahead of you in 2019.
I'm excited, but I realize the challenges too. As a prospect generator, there's 2 ends of the equation. You got to top up your portfolio, your pipeline of projects, so you always got to replenish them, but you want to make sure you uncork the end and get them out the door too. So we got one out to our friends at HPX and Fiordland. We got a couple more that we hope to get off the table this year with some good partnerships. So it's a labor-intensive business model because you have to be marketing constantly your projects, technically, marketing your company to the investment world, as well as focusing on replenishing your pipeline.
So it's a little bit of a different kind of investment. How would you suggest potential investors look at this opportunity versus, let's say, buying directly into a major?
Well, you're in the exploration space, so you're still playing for that big risk-reward ratio, which you get with a junior. You don't get that with majors. Majors, you might see the the rising tide with the
large,
markets.
steady growth or whatever.
Slow and steady and
Yeah.
blue chip style investment. You know, you're still looking for the 10 or 20 times win in a junior. But a prospect generator exposes you to more opportunity in that regard, because with the joint venture model, you're probably exploring a lot more with other people's money on more opportunities
Rather
than you
being
would as a
focused on
single
one.
project.
Yeah, right.
Prospect generators are hard to evaluate for the investor because you have a Rolodex of properties of different calibers at different stages of exploration. So how does an investor truly value a portfolio like that? Because it's a technical issue. And you got to be a geologist, you got to know exploration potential, and there's no real dollar value you could put on exploration properties. So I think the way to measure a prospect generator is in deal making. Are you executing on your model? Are you finding joint venture partners? Are you finding new properties? Are you building up a valuable royalty portfolio as sort of the fallback position in the company, the fundamentals there? So it's a difficult one for investors to actually invest in.
Well, including track record and, of course, people.
Yes, it's all about people. So we have a great team. I'm an exploration geologist. I have been since I graduated university. I've worked as a contractor. I've ran a major exploration office here for Phelps Dodge, Freeport McMoran for a number of years in Canada. I was a mining analyst briefly, so I got a bit of a taste of the financial worlds. And then I came back and been running juniors. My first junior I ran was called Valley High Ventures. We ended up selling that one out to our partner company in 2011 over a silver discovery made with our partner down in Mexico. And then this is my third junior I've run. The second one was the Spinco from Valley High, and they went off into lithium, and then I came over into Commander. So now I'm trying to do something with Commander. Different model, and I like this because this is my background. Exploration, finding new targets, bringing them up to speed, and then finding partners.
Well, it's fabulous. Wishing you all the best in 2019. Thank you.
Thanks
for sharing this.